And I asked him, and I think the answer was really equally amazing. And I want you to hear it from his mouth. Prime Minister, why did you throw it? Why did you leave? You had a wonderful life, you know, nice house, big cars, and you're ahead of a country of 100 million people. That's wonderful. I love that.
And by doing so, I think the last only 15 years that every African understand that this country has robust, fast economic growth in the continent. Even last week in the spring meeting of IMF, I came to understand the report shows that Ethiopia is the fastest growing economy, again in Africa, with 8.5% growth annually. Yeah, I think this has been an inspiration for many African countries that it's possible to grow very fast. But this growth has to be shared, equitable, and sustained. This is a very huge country, multi-ethnic, multicultural, multi-religious, and you need to address this issue very carefully, and you have to accommodate diversity, and inclusive governance system is a necessity for this country. When a country moves out of abject poverty, and when there is an awakening of the society, we call in Ethiopia, I know it's 100 million population compared with many African countries, you can imagine. When this giant, rises up from sleeping, then what happens has to be properly understood. And there needs to be a greater reform, a deeper reform, to accommodate the quest of people for freedom, democracy, and inclusiveness.
But you resigned, and my question is, why did you resign?
I'm coming to that.
No, people really need to know why you resigned.
Yeah, I think people also need to know the background. Otherwise, it doesn't give any sense. You know, this is a country which has achieved 7 out of the 8 Millennium Development Goals and given an award by the United Nations. So all these good things can be spoken about this country. But there is one shortcoming. We haven't properly made our youth to be included into the system. And my government, I admittedly say that we do not properly understand the vision and quest of our young people. And, we focused also on human resource development in order to address the skill gap. And, 18 years ago, we did have only 2 universities, but now we have 50 public universities, which is a huge leap. And every year we have hundreds of thousands of graduates coming out of these universities. We have around 700 million technical and vocational colleges. That doesn't include the private sector. There are hundreds of private sector universities and colleges. And added, we have more than 500,000 graduates coming every year. And even though our economy has grown very fast, it has very less capacity to accommodate.
But that's all great. It's still why you leave.
Yes. So then I said, we have a problem of inclusiveness. We have a problem of addressing, multi-ethnic society. We have a problem of attitude. My party has been in a communist mentality, but we are now a free market economy and a democratic multi-party democracy. There is a need for deep reform. So I said, I have to set aside myself in order to force this deep reform. Otherwise, the reforms are going very slow and sluggish, which can ultimately yield to a disintegration of my country if we don't go fast in reforming in a genuine way and in a robust way. Otherwise, then the stake is that this country is going to be disintegrated.
Do you guys get this, what he's saying? This is really a very interesting point.
Yeah. So,
how to force reform in a reluctant clique or ruling party by resigning and putting those guys on the spot. This is,
Yeah.
can we give a hand to the...
By the way, the main problem in African politics is because people stick to power, and I wanted to show that it is possible that you can live without having power while exercising the power as a private citizen in the country. So there is no need to cling to power. I am professional. I can work. I can deliver to my people in a different capacity. But I have to also force the reform. Otherwise, my existence, my family's existence, and my friends and partners' existence depend on widening democratic space in my country. Because if we say democracy is an existential issue for us, this sluggish process of reform doesn't yield. So we need to have expeditious reform to take place in my country.
Wonderful.
So I think
Thank
this
you very
is
much. I think
very
that's
essential.